Selena Gomez, we all know her, right? She's an absolute powerhouse, a globally recognized singer, a critically acclaimed actress, and a hugely successful entrepreneur. But right now, she's actually at the center of a massive collision. We're witnessing exactly what happens when a beloved celebrity's deeply positive mental health mission slams headfirst into the messy, high-stakes reality of a federal lawsuit. So welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to break down this intense legal battle between Gomez's startup, Wondermind, and a group of, well, deeply frustrated investors. And that brings us to the core question driving our entire Explainer today. Why exactly are these investors suing Wondermind? I mean, what went so wrong between the glamorous promises made in the boardroom and the actual day-to-day reality of running the business? Our focus today is squarely on unpacking the specific reasons why these financial backers felt they literally had no choice but to take federal legal action against one of the biggest stars in the world.
So here's our quick roadmap for today. First, the Wondermind lawsuit. Second, why investors are suing. Third, the specific legal claims. Fourth, how Selena Gomez is fighting back. And fifth, what happens next.
All right, part one, the Wondermind lawsuit, a mental fitness startup facing some serious legal trouble. So, let's set the stage. Wondermind was designed as a mental health-focused company. It was co-founded by Selena Gomez, her mother Mandy Teefey, and entrepreneur Daniella Pierson. Now, the primary goal here was to promote what they specifically called mental fitness. The idea was to provide people with tangible, accessible resources to help them actively focus on and improve their mental well-being every single day. On paper, it's a really noble, highly praised mission. But despite that deeply positive mission, things have taken a pretty sharp turn. Investors have now dragged Wondermind, along with its founders, into federal court in Delaware. And you have to understand, this isn't just a minor internal disagreement or a little boardroom squabble. This has escalated to a formal high-stakes federal lawsuit. That indicates a severe, fundamental breakdown in the relationship between the startup's leadership and the very people who were funding it. Moving into part two, why investors are actually suing. It's the classic tale of expectation versus reality. Look at this number. The sheer scale of the investment at stake here is honestly staggering. The plaintiffs claim they poured nearly $1.2 million into Wondermind. We aren't talking about a small symbolic chunk of change. This represents a massive financial commitment, and it completely explains the absolute intensity of this legal action. The investors want this money back, and they want it along with other damages and legal costs. So where did it go wrong? Well, investors were allegedly sold a very specific vision. They claim they received strong representations about Wondermind having solid infrastructure, capable leadership, deep resources, and basically incredibly bright future prospects. But behind the scenes, the alleged reality was entirely different. The plaintiffs claim Wondermind actually struggled heavily with day-to-day operations and its finances, completely failing to deliver on those promised initiatives. It's this massive, glaring gap between what they were allegedly told and what allegedly happened that forms the entire foundation of their lawsuit. And to make matters worse, at least from the investors' perspective, they claim they were kept completely in the dark. They allege they weren't fully aware of these serious internal problems while they were actively snowballing. Instead, they claim they only learned about Wondermind's 2025 financial and operational difficulties by reading about them in media reports. I mean, just imagine the emotional and financial shock of finding out about the struggles of a company you've invested $1.2 million into through the press. That is exactly the kind of trigger that launches a major legal battle. Okay, part three, let's look at the specific legal claims and really break down these charges. The plaintiff's case is basically built on four major pillars: alleged securities fraud, alleged common law fraud, alleged breach of contract, and alleged unjust enrichment. In plain English, the investors are legally arguing that they were intentionally sold a false bill of goods before they handed over their money, and that the founders broke their agreements and unfairly walked away with investor cash. Now, I want to be incredibly clear here. These are purely allegations contained in a lawsuit. They have absolutely not been proven in a court of law. It's also really vital to look at Selena Gomez's actual role within Wondermind, because it provides this fascinating insight into how celebrity startups actually operate behind the curtain. Sometimes, the famous name on the door isn't the one managing the spreadsheets. According to reports, Gomez wasn't involved in the company's day-to-day operations. Furthermore, a source previously noted that Gomez had actually invested millions of dollars of her own money into Wondermind over the years. She even put additional personal funds into the company to try and save it after learning about a previous financial setback. So this paints a picture of a founder who was perhaps removed from the daily grind, but was heavily personally invested in trying to keep the ship afloat. Which brings us to part four. Selena Gomez fights back. The defense pushes for a dismissal. And let me tell you, Gomez's legal team is not holding back. Back on August 15th, her attorney, Matthew S. Rosengart, provided an exclusive statement to People magazine. He forcefully stated that the allegations that Selena Gomez participated in fraud or any other wrongdoing are completely meritless, both factually and legally. Her team is strongly disputing every single claim of misconduct. They are not taking this lying down.
And they're taking really aggressive legal action to back up those words. The defense isn't just sitting back and waiting for the lawsuit to organically move forward. Instead, they are actively filing a motion to dismiss the case entirely. By explicitly calling the claims baseless, Gomez's lawyers are asking the federal judge to step in right now and throw the whole case out before it even really gets off the ground.
Beyond Gomez's intense legal pushback, we're also seeing a bit of a mixed bag of responses from the other named defendants. Co-founder Daniella Pierson has reportedly denied the allegations against her as well. Meanwhile, Mandy Teefey, who is Gomez's mother and the third co-founder, well, she hasn't publicly responded to the lawsuit as of the current reporting.
Finally, Part 5. What happens next? Let's look at the road ahead for Wondermind. So here is the immediate legal future for this dispute. Kind of like a game plan. Step 1 is currently underway. Gomez's legal team officially files their motion seeking a dismissal of all claims against her. Step 2 requires the court to review that motion and make a formal ruling. And Step 3, well, that's the fork in the road. If the court agrees with the defense, some or all of the claims against Gomez could be completely tossed out. But if the court does not grant the motion, the lawsuit survives, and this whole thing proceeds to a very lengthy phase of evidence gathering, further filings, and potentially a full-blown trial.
Now, before we wrap up, we really need to hammer this critical takeaway home. Currently, there has been zero final ruling establishing that Selena Gomez or her co-founders committed fraud. The investors are standing firmly behind their lawsuit in pursuit of that $1.2 million financial recovery, while Gomez's legal team insists the accusations are entirely false. Everything we've talked about remains absolutely unproven and highly disputed.
Obviously, this story is still developing, and business battles of this scale can literally take years to fully untangle. But I want to leave you with this final thought for today's explainer. Looking at the arguments from both sides here, do you think the defense actually has a strong case for dismissal, or should these $1.2 million allegations be examined further in federal court? Thanks so much for learning with us today, and we'll see you on the next explainer.